welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, November 23rd, 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The use of cannabis for recreational purpose is the best way to go for St. Vincent and the Grenadines at this time. So says Opposition Senator Baptist in an interview with SVG-TV News today as discussion continues here on the proposed medical cannabis industry for SVG. Baptist said legal recreational cannabis will definitely benefit Vincentians more and further boost the country's economy.
We believe that the CDB is what they're looking for medicinal purposes, and we accept our THC is what is the quantity, the quality in our marijuana. How are we going to produce really for medicinal marijuana? First of all, I believe that the THC can also be used for medicinal purposes, but more importantly is recreational marijuana. Tourists are lining up now to fly into Jamaica and Canada because there are places where they can smoke the herb. Of course, we recognize that children should not be able to smoke it. That is what the CARICOM report says, and that is what I would adhere to. The medicinal one will take a longer time because of the stringent conditions under which you have to grow it. And, there has to be security cameras, it has to be tested, it must meet a certain level when you test it before you can use it for medicinal marijuana. That will take longer to develop. So, when I hear Sobota Caesar put it out there as if miraculously the bill would pass and then all of a sudden St. Vincent will take off on a cusp, that is not the position. That cannot happen. That is hoodwinking people. It will take time to develop a cannabis industry, but it will not take time for the recreational one.
But he said the NDP maintains that marijuana should be decriminalized. But he's also noted that while they are in support of the medical cannabis industry, the current bill for its establishment should not be allowed to be passed in its current state, noting that good sense prevailed by adjourning Parliament this week.
This present bill before the House does not, in my mind, benefit the farmers. This bill is going to create an industry that maybe will benefit one or two licensees, maybe expats, persons from businessmen from abroad, with a few select Vincentians, I believe, and it will not benefit the bulk of the farmers. And so in its present state, I don't see how we can support it. And what is more, I think that the Prime Minister has realized that the bulk of the Rastafaris, the bulk of the farmers, the bulk of the people do not support the bill, and that is why he postponed Parliament the last time, so that he can look at it again. Not because he's listening to the people, but because the Rastas promised to come out, and there are a lot of them, they were ready to come out and demonstrate in front of Parliament on the 20th. So that was averted. Let us hope that he will now do the right thing and listen to the people. Have public discussion. There is no point in pushing this bill through Parliament, which they were hell-bent on doing, before the people had a chance to look at it, to analyze it, and to give their position.
But he's further stated that the amnesty bill needs further discussion and asked that farmers take note of the provisions in that bill.
In my mind, the amnesty bill is fraught with difficulties. You are asking farmers to bring in all the marijuanas, to state where they have it, where they grow it, how much they have, where they're planting it, sign a declaration that they have been breaking the law, which can send them to jail for many, many years. Sign that declaration, and then they may get an amnesty, an amnesty, so that license, so that they can plant. That is really, I would not advise farmers to do it in its current state, because most of them cannot be granted the license. Most of them will not be able to be granted a license. And what will become of their herb? The bill does not say that it will be paid for. The bill says that you will surrender it. It is only in very limited circumstances, after you have the license, after you enter into a contract, after the herb is tested to see whether it can reach the standards for medicinal marijuana, that you may be able to sell it. And if a farmer does that, takes a chance, brings it in, surrenders, do what they ask him to do, sign this declaration that he's been breaching the law, and then they test his marijuana and it is not good enough, so they do not buy it. What happened to the rest of the marijuana? Do you think he can go and sell it on the black market? He cannot, because that would be illegal.
The SVG Cannabis Revival Committee is hopeful that their interests and needs will be considered when the medicinal cannabis industry is established. Junior Spirit Cuttle said, while the organization supports the establishment of the industry, they are weighing their options as it regards their rights as recreational users.
We support the CRC. It's very supportive of the struggle for decriminalization. But the convention doesn't allow that. So we have the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines have to make a choice. Because going the way of decriminalization, there's just that possibility that there can be serious repercussions like sanctions. So we have to wait carefully. Which one do we choose? Do we choose the medical? And the medical cannabis industry is an export-oriented industry. It allows us to make some well-needed monies for the development of our country. So we have to choose between that and the idea of decriminalization, which implies consuming cannabis, using cannabis for recreational purposes. It's a pleasure. It's something to feel. You use it for ceremonies also. But it's a consuming issue. So we have to choose between that and the issue of development, livelihood.
Cuttle feels that many persons lack knowledge and education on the medicinal cannabis industry bill, hence their skepticism. However, Cuttle said they will take their chances.
Most of the cannabis girls are following the process and they want to get involved in the process. Perhaps there's not enough sensitization, so there's some doubt. But we feel confident that girls are going to be involved. And there's the talk that girls doesn't have any land. Of course, it's true, girls don't have land, but we are negotiating along that line. And just recently, Cabinet announced that they had established a committee to look into lands and making provisions so girls can move away from the high mountains where serious deforestation is taking place down to the lowlands so they could go cannabis for a livelihood.
The Christian Council, comprising representation of several churches in the country, has raised several concerns on the establishment of the medicinal cannabis industry in SVG through a joint statement recently released to the media. The Spiritual Baptist Church is part of that council, and today its newly elected Archbishop Melford Pompey said that those concerns still stand, particularly as it regards ensuring the use for the purpose intended.
The position, while we may welcome the, we may say that it is something that can boost the economy or what, I am a little bit concerned too that are we sure that this will be used in a way that will not further destroy? Because sometimes, when you find that you have it introduced for the purpose of medicine, others might think they can use the opportunity to not just use it, but misuse it. And as a result, you can find some problems.
He said that some members from the council have attended the consultations and are aware of the implications. He noted that anytime there is a new undertaking such as the medical marijuana industry, it is usually the people who face the implications and hope that this is not the case.
Hoping that if the bill do come into effect, that it will not do anything that will damage St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And when I say St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I mean our people, especially our young people who are hooked on drugs. If it is used for the medicinal purpose and the spiritual purpose, then, but once we do not misuse it. And
Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Pompey has been elected as the new Archbishop for the Spiritual Baptist Archdiocese in SVG and promised to unite all spiritual Baptist churches in the country. Pompey, who took up the position following a fatal accident in September, which took the life of Archbishop Frank Simon, said that he plans to use his position to better the lives of his followers.
I promised that I'm going to meet with every department of the church, all the district of our archdiocese, and we will see the way forward because there wasn't much going on, over the last few years, and I intend to get the Spiritual Baptist Archdiocese working so that we can show that we are not just strength in numbers, but we are exposing that strength in the way we come together, getting all the churches together and put certain things in place that we can move forward as an archdiocese. In other words, I'm going to have more conferences with the church, more workshops, and such like, and the visitation to the various churches and districts will be increased.
The Archbishop is expected to be installed early next year. He is the 5th Archbishop that will be installed in SVG. Local farmers are being encouraged to make full use of the coconut plant, which has the potential for significant economic benefits. So said Gregory Linton, representative of the Caribbean Agriculture Research and Development Institute, CARDI, as he spoke of activities to be held in celebration of CARDI Day. CARDI has been providing significant technical and other support to the agriculture sector in the region. CARDI Day will be celebrated here on December 5th with an exhibition at the Post Office car park, focusing on the coconut plant. Linton said coconut trees thrive in the past thanks to the banana industry, and they see in the same decline as banana today. He is, however, encouraging farmers to maintain their trees given the usefulness of the plant.
Industry, we no longer see that. However, within the past decade, over the past decade or so, we have seen demand increase over 700%, and there has been no rehabilitation, no replanting, and the sector is declining. So, hence, we wanna raise awareness, let people understand that coconuts, there's potential in coconuts. There's a lot of opportunities. It's a resilient crop, which ties into climate change and climate resilient, and there are many opportunities for young people. The trees we are seeing, they are very old. They are over 80 years. Many are over 80 years, and they're not being managed properly. They are not being fertilized, they are not being treated with insecticides, and therefore yields are very low. We want to encourage farmers to take care of the crop. Normally, persons would plant and forget. We want to encourage farmers to take care of the crop, and they will see a significant improvement in their yields.
The CARDI representative said the creation of nurseries will assist in revitalizing the coconut industry, noting that the expertise of CARDI is always available to farmers.
We also want to encourage farmers to establish nurseries to replant. Farmers can call us in at CARDI, at the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, and we would be glad to give support and assistance in establishing nurseries on site where they can produce high quality planting material, because we need to replant. The way things are going, within the next 50 years or so, we may not have coconuts. We may not have good quality coconuts to produce. Therefore, this year in this exhibition, we want to let the public know that coconuts can be a very good alternative. It's a viable alternative. It can be intercropped with several other crops, including coffee, cassava, tanya, edos. It can be intercropped with several commodities.
Linton further used the opportunity to speak on the usefulness of the coconut tree.
Also, the versatility of the crop is very important. From the stem, which can be used to produce a lot of lumber, the leaves, which can be used to produce a lot of arts and crafts, to the fruit, From the fruit, we could get oils, we could get water. From the oils, you could produce a lot of pharmaceuticals, soaps, cosmetics, and other products. Also from the shells, we can produce craft items. From the husk, they could go into fiber, they could go into composting. There are several different commodities that can be produced from coconuts. And if we're looking at replanting, it's an opportunity to use, for example, some of the trees that we may have to cut back to produce lumber. The lumber is very tough, very resilient, and it's an alternative. So for Cardi Day this year, apart from highlighting other activities where Cardi has contributed, we want to be focusing on coconuts, and we want the public to come out and see all the possibilities that can be achieved through coconuts.
And a number of farmers on the windward side of the island earlier this week got the opportunity to learn more about climate change and what irrigation system and equipment are available to them. This through a workshop hosted by the Ministry of Agriculture at the North Union Learning Resource Center on Wednesday. Agriculture Assistant Leroy Jackson said the irrigation system in the Langley Park area was recently repaired after it received significant damage in 2015 and 2016. He said the workshop gave farmers an opportunity to hear what is being done to build resilience against climate change.
The Ministry of Agriculture has been involved in this project since March of this year, and we have had some teething problems because the major system itself has been old, it's over 20 years now, so we have some major hiccups. But since then we have been able to correct those major hiccups by the use of our spare parts, so we have the water ready for the growing of crops. So in the next 3 weeks, farmers who are going to benefit from the project are going to receive their seedlings, they're going to receive their fertilizer, they're going to receive their drip line and the tractor services. So by the end of December, we will have all these 8 farmers who are the first beneficiaries, and they will establish 4 acres of vegetables with the use of irrigation. And we are going to be able to measure the performance and the impact of irrigation on these crops and to see what are the real benefits that farmers can get from the component of irrigation as part of the climate change adaptation approach here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Jackson said previously the irrigation system was solely managed by the Ministry of Agriculture, which created unique issues. He said now that the farmers are an integral part of the management of the system, things are much better.
This time around we are working it differently. We are getting the farmers in Langley Park to be involved in a irrigation farmers cooperative, and they are going to work with us as the technician to better manage the irrigation system from the catchment right to the farm. And their involvement is not just to be beneficiary of the irrigation system, but to help us to manage the system itself, to identify problems, to observe differences and problems and come up with solutions. So the overall approach this round is farmer to farmer extension and technical aids. So we are all working together along with the technician to better manage the system in this way to avoid all of the nuances that we would have had in the previous system. So we are certain that with this new approach, this total involvement management approach, we are going to have better effective results from the irrigation system. Right.
Meanwhile, Nayoka Abbott Balcom, a farmer for 40 years, welcomes the irrigation project, though she believes more can be done.
As it should, because as a farmer who is into vegetable production, I know the value of water. And with climate change, we are now into the month of November. By January, we will be practically into the dry season. And if the water is not there, then it will be very detrimental for these young farmers who would be now coming into vegetable production. I do endorse the project, and I do like what the Ministry of Agriculture is doing at this moment to give us another shot into agriculture and to keep agriculture alive. But in my honest opinion, I still feel that enough is not being done. But the little start is good. It is giving us a lot of confidence that we will be able to survive. Looking forward to be part of the medical marijuana project. Thank you.
A one-week empowerment training program will be hosted here next week by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce in conjunction with the United Nations Conference for Trade and Development, UNCTAD. The main objective of the program is to help implement in a coordinated manner the trade facilitation reforms, including the provisions of the Agreement on Trade Facilitation of the World Trade Organization, the WTO. The program consists of 4 modules of both face-to-face and online training, such as understanding international standards, measuring and implementation, trade facilitation, strengthening the national trade facilitation committees, and establishing a trade facilitation roadmap and training of trainers. Several persons were selected to participate in the one-week intensive professional training program, which commences on Monday at the Foreign Affairs Conference Room. Successful participants will be issued with a certificate of completion.